Episode 2 of Manimal is the riveting tale of diplomatic immunity and magical acts. That's enough info for me to finally write my long-awaited Lethal Weapon 2 fanfiction, where Riggs is saved by turning into a leopard with a mullet! After disappointing ratings for the pilot movie, the second episode aired 2 weeks after the premiere on Friday, October 14th, 1983, where it was still fighting very hard being opposite a new episode of Dallas, but I'm sure we'll get some power from its lead-in, Mr. Smith, the sitcom starring Clyde the orangutan. How do we know it's not another one of Dr. Chase's disguises? There were some other changes in episode 2 as well, notably that JC's Vietnam buddy, Ty Earl, was replaced by Michael D. Roberts, I'm assuming to make him more of a comedic character, as original actor Glenn Turman played him pretty straight. I can tell which Ty the official DVD preferred, as they have the Glenn Turman Ty right there on the cover, but while only crediting Roberts on the back. And it just feels right holding an official DVD of this, as opposed to the bootlegs that we were stuck with for years. So in Illusion, a Bulgarian diplomat is also an illegal smuggler who hides behind diplomatic immunity, plus JC has to fight for the innocence of a tiger accused of killing a magician. That's a lot of words for Manimal fights Richard Lynch and Last House on the Left's David Hess. And the director this time out was Daniel Haller, known in the Corman world as a set designer for Roger Corman, who worked on House of Usher and Pit and the Pendulum, before directing Die Monsters Die, The Dunwich Horror, and worked a lot in television on shows like Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica. And I love that every opening for every episode tells you that it'll be the greatest thing that you've ever seen. I am already impressed, but more importantly, this is the first episode where we get the opening narration, where Jonathan is a man of the brightest of futures and the darkest of pasts. That's what it says.
Dr. Jonathan Chase. Wealthy, young, handsome. A man with the brightest of futures. A man with the darkest of pasts.
Thanks, William Conrad. His voice makes this all fact. We even learn about JC's dad.
Heir to his father's legacy and the world's darkest mysteries.
I think his dad may have been on drugs. We open on a stakeout where new Ty already has the jokes.
My anatomy is reminding me why I never became a cop.
Old Ty didn't have to worry about shitting himself. They're here to capture the #1 smuggler in the world, Zoltan Gregory, where they're the only department in New York watching over this. Who knows? There could be an animal involved. That's why JC is there. I'm not sure about Zoltan's accent, though.
May I go now? I have a reservation at the Club 21.
Don't get cute.
You're from Brooklyn, Richard, not Bulgaria. Cut it out. Unfortunately, though, he is from the embassy, and the license plate is all the info they need to know he has immunity. See, this is why JC is here. He can tail the car just fine, the best way the department knows how, with him turning into a hawk and Ty covering for him.
How can he follow that limo without a car?
JC's really good at commandeering different types of transportation.
Just hang back, boys. We didn't see the Hawk transformation effects in the pilot, so we'll get a good look at it here, which again is impressive as hell. Even if I'm wondering where he's standing, and if the cops are like, we've been waiting around here for about 15 minutes. We could have followed Zoltan ourselves in the amount of time it's taken him to change. The plot does indeed have to do with animals, as we're introduced to Harris and Ross, Animals and Illusions, with Ross being Christopher Stone of The Howling and Cujo, and Peter Fox as Ross. You'll be the Michael Moriarty of the episode. Zoltan wants his help smuggling animals, but he is unsure. I mean, what if there's a hawk listening? I don't know about this Zoltan. He's talking on the phone in the back of a limo, and there's also steam. These villains always show every sign that they're up to no good. But JC is offering to help the man. Look, if you help me out, I'll turn into a singing frog on stage. Then after changing the name of their show to Magic Illusions, anything to stop them from being sued by Siegfried and Roy. Manimal is gonna be a tough audience here.
Do you see what you see? Or do you see what we want you to see? Hello, Tipsy.
Seen it. You can't do a show like this without inviting Jonathan up on stage. Plus, Brooke has the power to be cut in half. What? I'm assuming it's real. The magic everywhere else in the show is real. I love when they disappear and just make Jonathan finish the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you had to save half a cup, which half would you save?
Then he threw away her legs. They have to get back on stage for something sinister to happen. You don't hire David Hess and put him in your crew unless you want someone to get killed. See, Harris's body is delivered right on stage. And it is the best audience for a show like this. They immediately know he's dead and that this is not part of the act.
Jonathan!
We'll put you back together in a minute, Mackenzie. We gotta take a break first.
Spent a fortune on a computer. Know what I found out? I hate computing.
Why spend a fortune to find out how you feel about computing when you can do it on a Timex Sinclair 1000 for $49.95?
I thought I'd hate it, but... Ta-da!
We're back, and they think that Tipsy the Tiger is the one who killed Harris by cutting his throat and sticking him in a cage for him to appear on stage when clearly someone else did.
Diplomatic immunity. You've hidden behind that before, haven't you? Good night, pal.
Good night.
Well, that guy's guilty. So Jonathan has 24 hours to clear Tipsy's name. He'll take it directly to the news, where they're also known to turn into animals. JC's got his work cut out for him. It's gonna take a lot for him to be the most interesting man in this episode, as, no joke, Jonathan Goldsmith is right there. He is literally known as the most interesting man in the world. However, the cab drivers are on top of it a little more in this one. In the pilot, the guy didn't even know JC was turning into a panther in the back seat, whereas here, not only is the driver listening, but also a bomb was placed under the cab.
What's wrong?
Well, now where am I gonna turn into a panther? Forget that attempted murder mumbo-jumbo. He's investigating the pattern at which Tipsy can strike, while Ty is checking the streets, which were made very clear of.
Well, I checked the streets, man. And I mean the streets. Little streets, big streets, side streets, streets where most people think there are no streets.
I'm not paying you to come up with material, Ty. Wait, he has a bit about tires now!
I had to buy tires retail. People catch me buying tires retail is gonna ruin my reputation.
Are you through? We have more people to question. This case is getting more interesting.
I love you, liberated women of the 80s. You come to us, you make life so much easier. A gift. Take one. It's yours forever.
I'm assuming he's just playing the same guy from the Dos Equis commercials.
Mr. Manning, I've discovered what I consider to be some interesting facts.
I'm listening. So Felix here is the manager handling all the money from the smuggling going on with Harris and Gregory. Not to mention, he's probably got a few sexual harassment cases floating around out there. And he's not a bright villain, as he instantly calls up Zoltan, who at this point I'm guessing is always holding a cigarette like that in an evil pose 24/7. Hurry up and finish recording, someone might walk in.
Yeah! Oh, sing it, girl, yes! Oh, I love it, yes! Oh, boy, this girl can sing, man.
With this disguise, he is ready to board the Silver Streak. They figure out that JC is following a bit too close, so now he has no choice but to stop his car and turn into the Hawk. While the effects definitely kick ass, I still love when they work in reactions from other animals watching this.
Jesus Christ, this whole town is going nuts!
You're still really lucky you didn't lose him during this whole process, Jonathan. But nope, there he is. We're good. Sadly though, new Ty clearly missed some of the action in the pilot.
Why is it every time you say let's go, I feel like I'm rushing into the jaws of death?
We already saw that 2 weeks ago, Ty. Did Glenn not fill you in? Just as long as at some point they get captured and JC has to save them. They're up against forces so powerful they were strong enough to kill David Hess, and off screen too. We still need some kind of predicament to happen, something worthy of a freeze frame and a cut to black.
I got him! I told you I could! Call the zoo! I bet they'd love to have a hawk like this!
Imagine if that was the series finale. Worst ending ever. I love that he has to pretend to be dead in order for the kid to let him go.
Looks like he fooled us, son.
Okay, after that brief appearance from a courtship of Eddie's father knockoff, now we can stop the smuggling of Mackenzie and Ty in a runaway semi. Woof, between this and trying to blow us up in a taxi, we should really close out this case. In a minute, the lion needs his medicine.
Simba, you better take your medicine, or you're gonna be in big trouble.
So now that we've given the Lion King his Tylenol, just remember, it's an episode about smuggling. It has to have its climax in a warehouse. That's just the rules. And with it involving magic show props and a man who can turn into a panther, you're not gonna see something like this in Beverly Hills Cop. Sure, these are the same panther effects from the pilot, but they are able to swipe out the background if need be. This is the absolute highlight of this episode. He mauls a couple of bad guys, confuses the hell out of them where no one told them there'd be a panther loose, and believe me, they make use of these magic show props. It's okay, there's more buttons he can push.
I gotcha.
Get that panther a contract in Vegas immediately. After turning into a shark last time and eating Ed Lauder, JC feels it best to just scare the guy enough to get a confession.
Throw myself on the mercy of the sovereign state of New York.
It would be my pleasure to read you your rights. It would be his pleasure, too.
On second thought, it cut to black, so I'm gonna assume he also ate this villain. He looked mighty hungry there. It's all worked out. They even got free tickets to the show, which he dedicates to Tipsy, Ty, JC, and Mackenzie. No mention of his dead partner, though. They got more bodies to chop up.
Miss Mackenzie will volunteer, so if you... Miss Mackenzie...
You heard him, Mackenzie. You're gonna be chopped up again live on stage. This show is so good. We've got panthers shooting people out of cannons, annoying bird watchers, and the capture of the most interesting criminal in the world. Stay tuned next time, where the only way that JC can defeat the Russians is by turning into a spider, an elephant, and scaring Ty.
Tell me where the list is.